Hello, homeschoolers! Welcome to ihomeschoolph podcast, where we'll talk about what really matters most in our homeschooling journey. And for today, I am so excited because I do believe yung mga followers po natin, no, madami na po kayo nakitang video about Charlotte Mason and specifically in my page, in my YouTube account, and also in FB account. But this is something different and something personalized. That's why I invited a dear friend, a new friend, no? And her name is Leah Salting. She has been homeschooling since 2016 and this is her 7th year. And the reason for moving actually, kasi ngayon po, OFW po siya pero ngayon, temporary po. Nandito po siya sa Pilipinas. God has actually a bigger plan for her family. So, they wanted to migrate every 5 years to different parts of the world. Oh, exciting yan ha. Para yung mga anak po nila, ma-experience po nila yung different cultures, no, na kailangan po sa, growing up years ng mga bata. And also because yung nature po ng trabaho po ni Leah. And they have been living in Bahamas for quite some time. And I do believe po na si Leah po ay madami pong masishare about Charlotte Mason. So, siya po ay independent homeschooler based in Bahamas, homeschooling for 6 years and have 4 kids. And now, they are trying to prepare themselves going to Singapore. Yes. So, I would like to just introduce my dear friend, Leah Salting. Hello, dear.
Hi,
Kamusta?
hi. Good. Everything's good.
Kamusta na?
Um, well, as you can see, we are in a transitional phase. So, every now it's very different here. Nandito kami ngayon sa Pilipinas, but in a few months, we will be moving to a different country. So, iba yung mga bata is currently they're enjoying their time here in the Philippines. And also there's like a somewhat of an outcry. They want to stay. 'Diba? Merong parang they realize na ang ganda-ganda pala dito. And there are so many things that you can do. And really we are at par with the other parts of the world when it comes to beauty and activities to do.
Wow, ang ganda naman mga sinabi mo. Siyempre, in Bahamas, iba rin yung ano no, no? Iba rin yung atmosphere doon when you were in Bahamas. If I may know, how many years have you been staying in Bahamas?
6 years, since
6
2016.
years
And
din.
then,
So, you started your homeschooling in Bahamas.
yes,
Oh,
in
so,
Bahamas.
alam ko medyo nakwento mo na to, no? Because kung natatandaan niyo po si Leah, siya po yung isa sa mga OFW po natin nung March na invite po natin. But I just want to go here, no, at this point, bakit ka nag-homeschool? Ano ang nag-push sa'yo para mag-homeschool?
So actually, it was part of the plan. Homeschooling and moving was part of the plan because my husband is a doctor, and then the nature of his work here, if we are here in the Philippines, he goes on 24, 48-hour duty. So hindi niya nakikita yung mga bata. And he's realizing na lumalaki yung mga bata and he doesn't really get to spend time with them. The opportunity in the Bahamas came because it was fortunate that he had the opportunity to work in the Bahamas because there he only works like 2 days for 2 weeks in a month. He works for 2 days, and then for 2 weeks naman 5 days. So he really has a lot of time. And then homeschooling because it we realized that we we want to be together, especially during the growing up years of the kids. Initially, yun yung plano eh. Habang lumalaki sila, we want to spend as much time as possible with them.
So, ano na ang mga edad ng mga bata ngayon?
Okay, so now my eldest is 13. My only girl siya. And then I have 3 boys, age
Wow.
11, 8, and 7. So, yun. Apat sila.
Okay, now let's go mainly to our topic, no? Charlotte Mason. Siyempre, madami na rin gumagamit na nito. But ako, I did a little bit because I'm really
Yes.
eclectic, but I'm not a purist, no? And I do believe you're a purist. So, I just want to have this question in a way na Siyempre, paano talaga nabago ng buhay mo at bakit mo pinili ang Charlotte Mason? No? Alam ko ang daming magagandang, tinuturo si Charlotte Mason, 'di ba? Madami siyang tinuturo sa atin. But syempre, as a family of the Salting family. So, first siguro, why did you choose Charlotte Mason?
So, I chose Charlotte Mason. First, in the Bahamas kasi, konti lang kami nag-homeschool. Like around 3 or 4 families when I started. And then, we were always, my kids and I were always at the library. Kasi palagi kaming, my husband's, the hospital is near the library. So palagi kaming andon. And then, nakilala na kami ng librarian. Then the librarian said, my sister also homeschools. You might want to get together with her. So I said, yeah, that's nice. So we met. Parang nagtry kami to start a homeschool co-op with that family and with 2 other families. But then I was very impressed with this family because, especially with the mom, during that time she had 4 kids and 1 on the way. And of course, we were in the Bahamas, so we met sa beach. Tapos, I could see that, she had like parang 11 years old yung panganay niya noon. And they were so relaxed. Having like 4 young children under the age of 11 and being pregnant, they were very relaxed. They had books and they had like, paper and pen. Some of the kids were sketching. So I got curious. And then she was the one who actually introduced me to Charlotte Mason. Siya yung nagpakita sa akin ng beauty of a Charlotte Mason education. Because I saw it for myself sa family niya.
On your end, because syempre, you were able to see the life that she has lived, no? I'm sure doon ka na-attract, no? Pero prior to Charlotte Mason, meron ka ba bang tinignan na iba? Kasi definitely,
Actually,
you were gearing for homeschooling, I know, no?
yes.
Pero meron ka ba bang chinek na iba? Syempre parang, naging curious ka ba, Charlotte Mason, baka walang structure to? Or, kasi eventually, di ba?
Yes.
Leah, just to be honest, ako talaga when I was starting, kasi I'm very structured person. I love function, I love something to, gusto ko yung ginagawa ko or pwede kong gawin sa mga anak ko, parang may resulta in a vivid way. So parang when I was trying to research unschooling, Charlotte Mason, and all that stuff, parang I realized na parang, teka muna, parang hindi ako makampante. Meron ako may mga certain fears ako eh. Kasi nga, because of how I was brought up and that is the way I learned. But ang nakakatuwa nga sa homeschooling, di ba, Leah? Nababago ka eh. Akala mo, feeling mo mababago mo yung anak mo. Pero hindi, ako yung nabago. That's why, one of the things that I learned from Charlotte Mason is to be able to honor the person of the child. And that's what I did. Instead of being a purist, iba eh. May iba sa mga anak ko, ayaw nila ng Charlotte purist. Yung iba talaga structure. May iba na gusto niya yon. So, on your end, how does it goes?
Kasi ako honestly nga, in the beginning, sa totoo lang, I already bought a boxed curriculum. Pagdating, kasi di ba, you were exposed to that.
Yeah.
Maraming ganun eh. To be honest, when we arrived in the Bahamas, that was February. So I said, I will de-school, like a few months that we will really not do anything. But we do go to the library. But we won't have, like a structured daily routine that they will do specific work. So parang, because they came from a regular school, so parang nag-de-school muna ako. So, and then, pero I was already preparing. Yun nga, meron na akong biniling boxed curriculum. But then, I started researching about the different homeschooling philosophies. Parang marami akong nababasa. And then, si Charlotte Mason, honestly, what attracted me initially to the method was, for me ngayon tingin ko, parang ang babaw pala nung reasons ko in the beginning. Kasi ang reasons ko nung una, she was big on living books. Ako kasi I love reading, 'di ba? So, for her, yung sabi niyang walang textbook, oh my God, I was like, yes, finally, somebody na naiintindihan. Kasi ako, I really, parang, di ba textbooks are, I mean, nothing against like people using textbooks. For me kasi, I would love to hear it straight from the source. Yung primary source of information. And for her, she wants to present the child with living books. And then very, very relaxing. Dahil meron siyang, she's also big on time outdoors. And hello, you are in the Bahamas. What are you going to do? But be out, on the outdoors,
Come
di ba?
on,
So parang perfect.
savor the Bahamas, di ba? The outdoors. So, specifically, yung bahay niya talagang sobrang lapit sa beach, gano'n?
Yes. I mean, to
Wow.
the point that may mga seagulls. It was, parang part of the, yun in the morning, parang lumalabas yung mga anak ko. And one of their
Oh,
games, minsan, is listening kung ano yung narinig nila na sound ng birds. Maraming seagulls na ang lapit-lapit sa, the beach is like, parang 3-5 minute walking distance from our house. So, malapit lang.
wow.
And
So
also,
beautiful.
yung short lessons niya. Short lessons and the free afternoon. So you only homeschool in the morning. And then in the afternoon, they're free to do different kinds of, like they can do art, they can listen to music, play an instrument, read the books that they love. So parang it is very it's freeing. Yun nga, parang di ba sabi, she advocated for an education based on a very wide and liberal curriculum with respect to the personhood of the child. So yun, kaya ito pala, no, my group, it's Charlotte Mason Authentic. Kasi people were asking, parang what do you mean by authentic? Do you mean that you're like, this is the authentic version of Charlotte Mason? But I know the Charlotte Mason Authentic because my goal is to help parents bring out the authentic child, who their child is supposed to be in accordance to God's plans. Yun yung kaya authentic siya. We're looking for the authentic child.
That's good. Ang ganda nun, no? Authentic, real. Yung totoong pagkatao ng bata. So, I made some list lang, no? And maybe you can be able to, what I've learned from my own journey in Charlotte Mason, and maybe you can be able to respond. How does it personalize you on my end? One of the reason why I love Charlotte Mason, me as personal on my own way, kahit hindi ako purist, is one of the things is the child is respected as a person. So that how does it, I mean, paano yung mag-a-apply sa buhay mo?
When you say that, respect for the personhood of a child, this is a quite a concept that you think it is hard to grasp because, when it comes to learning, for example, Charlotte Mason, syempre we start with the living books. And then the child learns from the living books. And there is yung way of learning ng isang bata is through narration. So what is narration? It's the child telling back to you what he's read. But it's not that simple kasi. So yung narration, there's an initial knowledge coming from the living books. And then it will be transformed to the personalized knowledge of your child.
Yes.
Kasi pagka kung ano yung babanggitin niya sa'yo is yung mga bagay na nagstay sa kanya. Things na nag-connect sa kanya. So matatandaan niya yun talaga. So, which is also connected to another aspect of a Charlotte Mason education, which is the science of relations. Yung science of relations is actually, it's not just the relation of one thing to another, but the personal relation of the child to the things around him or to the things that he's learned. So pag nakita mo nag-narrate ang bata, inanarrate niya sa'yo is kung ano yung nag-connect sa kanya. Kung ano yung parang nag-stay with him. And because of that, it is new knowledge formed. Hindi lang siya yung parang a memorization of facts. And then I will recite to you the dates, the personalities, or the facts. This is the child's own version of an initial knowledge.
So Leah, share to us naman, how is it to you personally? I mean, with your own child?
Nakakatuwa when it comes to, yun nga, I was like that too before. Sabi ko, tama ba itong ginagawa ko? Like when it comes to narration, syempre like I have 4 children, ang dami, narrate, ang daming, every day they narrate to me, kahit nasa labas kami, kahit alam mo yun, naglalaba kami, kahit na minsan nasa banyo ako, Mom, do you know that this happened? And then, especially with the younger ones, nakakatuwa yung mga bata. And then sabi ko, talaga kayang, will it really be retained in them? Because like my daughter, she's 13, she reads like about 8-9 books a day. My sons, they read about like 5 books in a day. And then meron kang mga instances na merong moments na marirealize mo, nagwo-work pala. Because like for example, there was this conversation between my 8-year-old and my 7-year-old. So now that we're back in the Philippines, of course, we are being saturated by Philippine literature. Ang dami ko nang pinapabasa kanila na Philippine literature about Filipino heroes. So my 7-year-old was reading about Emilio Aguinaldo. So sabi niya, oh, finally, there's a hero that didn't die in the war, sabi niya ganon. Because Emilio Aguinaldo died
Yes.
of tuberculosis, sabi niya ganon. And then my 8-year-old, he interjected and then he said, oh, he also died of tuberculosis. You know, Marie Curie's mom also died of tuberculosis. Maybe because during their time, they didn't really have the medicine. So I was like, I was listening to them. These are 7 and 8-year-olds. But then the wealth of knowledge that's coming out of their mouth, not that wasn't forced to them, that they, parang talagang natural na lumalabas sa kanila. So talagang, alam mo yun, it is working. It will work. For those starting Charlotte Mason, trust the process. Nagwo-work po siya.
I totally agree with trust the process kasi something that you plant that seed, hindi naman kaagad magbo-bloom. Ang nakakatuwa lang kasi with what you're sharing, because you have respected your kids as a person. You respected the face, the flow of learning of the kids, and they really enjoy it. Thank you for sharing that. So, one of the reasons that I also love Charlotte Mason, so napag-usapan na natin how you respected as a person, is they have, or what we call, si Charlotte Mason po, good literature is powerful.
Yes.
Yan. Good literature is powerful. So, grabe lang napakadaming resources ngayon. Sobrang dami. Pero yun nga one of the key reason also is how to choose. Lalo na ngayon, ang daming pwede mong mapili. Pero natuturuan mo rin mga anak mo kung paano pipili ng tamang literature or tamang libro para sa kanila. So how does it look like in your family, Leah?
So with us, there's one true test for a living book, how it will ignite parang the thinking of your child. So sabi parang the test is if you try and read the book and it actually opens the doors of the minds of your children, parang mas nagiging curious pa sila, or they want to learn more and then they want more, then that is the true test na the book that you are reading is a living book. So with my children, I have different levels, diba, ng mga anak. So meron na akong ibang like grade 7 and 8, and between grade 7 and 8 na si Zizu, and then I have like grade 5 ganyan. So ako, meron kasing maraming guides, diba, with Charlotte Mason. Ito yung book list mo for like a particular like year 3 or year 4 for particular ages. So for me, to be honest, I really don't go by the book list. My bookshelves are here, and if for example my child's curiosity is parang picked by one book na parang hindi niya level, but then binuksan niya yung libro, naiintindihan naman niya, he can narrate it back to me na kung ano yung nakukuha niya dun sa libro, then I'm not going to stop him from reading that. Because I have an 8-year-old who forced me. He really begged me to be part of our Julius Caesar Shakespeare group. Julius Caesar is supposed to be for 11 to 12, but he was like really curious every time that we do it. And then he said, Mom, I really want to read that too. So I did not kasi that's one way of respecting the personhood of the child. Siya yung pumili na nun eh. So yun, those but sabi ko nga, parang yung mga nung una initially, parang mga basic yung reasons ko for Charlotte Mason education. Kasi pero habang nagtatagal ka and you're using Charlotte Mason, you realize that this isn't just about living books. narration, being in the outdoors. It goes beyond that. So yun, nakita ko yung deeper reason why I really stayed with the method, why I really utilized the philosophy.
Nakakatuwa lang kasi 'di ba, like what you were saying about Julius Caesar, your child learning about this guy and his choices in life could be
Yes.
able to, adapt, or could be able to, learn pag matatanda na yung mga anak natin, 'di ba, na, matatandaan ko si Julius Caesar, ano mga choices niya,
Yes.
bakit siya na-assassinate, bakit yung mga gano'n. Hindi, it's really beyond the literature itself.
Yes.
It's really forming our kids as well as they research on their own. Nakakatuwa lang kasi buti na lang nabuhay tayo sa henerasyon na to, Leah.
Actually, ako naiingit ako sa mga anak ko, parang sabi ko sa kanila, parang kung ako inaral ko yan, it's a good thing that you touched on the, parang pagdating ng araw, di mo ma-realize na yun. Di ba si Charlotte Mason, she has 20 principles. Merong, first nga yun, that child is a born person. But if you go through, nung una, sabi ko, guiding principle siguro to, kung paano ko implement yung homeschool ko, ganyan. But if you read her principles, starting with the first one, yung child is a born person, and then yung respect for the person of the child, and then hanggang sabihin niya sa'yo, yung atmosphere in the home. Dadating tayo sa dulo ng principle niya, she will discuss about the way of the will and the way of the reason. And the way of the will and the way of the reason are actually for the older children. Parang paano yung how they will, conduct themselves pagka medyo matatanda na sila. So if I may say, those are just not guiding principles. Charlotte Mason gave you what the life of your child should be from the very beginning up to the time na aalis na siya sa bahay mo. It's preparation. So it's very beautiful. Kasi isipin mo, hindi mo lang siya tinuruan ng math, science, and English. Tinuruan mo siya kung paano paglabas ng pinto ng bahay mo, pag-aalis na siya sa'yo, how to act in the real world.
Yes, so, I totally agree with that, Leah. That's why this is my next reason why I love Charlotte Mason as well. It's broad and balanced. Like, naisip ko lagi, di ba Charlotte Mason, lagi niya sinasabi, it's a beautiful garden, no? And it contains like a variety of subjects na well-balanced yung approach niya. Like for example, kung sabihin natin, di ba, hindi lang nature study, yun kasi sinasabi, hindi lang nature study. History, handwriting, art appreciation, ano pa bang subject? Sabihin mo sa akin, poetry, yan, I love. Yep. Music appreciation. Siyempre, definitely, Bible, foreign language, no? It's like a variety of the bouquet of a beautiful flower that you're gonna pick onto. And it's really appealing to be able, yung goal mo is to really holistic, no? To be holistic yung mga anak natin and well-educated as a person. Yun naman yung goal. Hindi naman yung, di ba parang iniisip natin na, Charlotte Mason ako kasi gusto kong paglaki ng anak ko, maging VP siya, maging mayor siya ng, ng Pasig. Wala naman tayong gano'n eventually. It's really about, the deeper and the inner being of our child that's being changed. And being nakita ko yung method niya na variety and broad and balanced, no, as well. I'm not saying not other methods are like that, but we are talking about Charlotte Mason right now. And you can research, mga magulang, no? That's why we're talking about this. You'll be able to compare whatever research that you are trying to get out of this conversation with Leah. For our experience, like now, Leah, can you share that fact na it's really broad but balanced siya? So how does it look like in your homeschooling journey?
So for us, of course, like in the morning talaga, we do history, we do Bible lessons, and it evolves. Like my daughter, because she's high school na siya, so she extends her time hanggang 2 p.m. Medyo yun pa yung mga let's say academic subjects niya. And then but after that, the afternoons are free because you should be, kasi ito isang feast. Kumbaga ito'y ang education ni Charlotte Mason is like a buffet. And ang maganda dyan, ihahain mo lang siya sa anak mo. Hindi mo sila susubuan. Okay, ipapakita mo sa kanila, and then you allow them to choose what they want. Like for us, merong kaming fina-follow na, for example nga, like Friday we have Shakespeare, like and then we have music and art. They're actually doing virtual music and art acting class now. And then they also have Mondays and Tuesdays mostly to sketch and draw and also to learn instruments. So um it is exposing your child. Kasi itong exposure na to, you know what, why it's important? Because doon malalaman ng anak mo kung ano talaga yung gusto niya. So, napakaganda niyang concept because, the child, then you realize as the child gets older, makikita niya, oh, I am very inclined sa pagdodrawing. Ngayon nakikita ko na with my two older ones. Sometimes they will ask me if they can just draw, if they can just sketch. Mahilig silang mag-drawing. My daughter naman really loves to play instruments and then to sing. And of course, meron ding sports activities. My daughter is into swimming. My son used to do football and swimming. So parang lahat, parang holistic talaga siya. Lahat ma-expose ng bata. And kasi merong like not criticism. One thing that they say could be, you could parang 'di ba, parang baka yung anak mo maging jack of all trades, master of none. Parang merong ganun. But no, actually, doon nila kasi nakikita kung ano yung gusto nila. Like, if you go to a buffet, di ba? Parang makikita mo, ito ang daming pagkain. But then you go back to the food that you really like. Ano ba yung favorite mo? Favorite mo ba yung ham? So, di ba? Twice or thrice, babalik ka for the ham. So, in the same thing, that is nourishment of the body. So, ito namang feast na to is nourishment for the mind, which is of utmost importance also.
Yes, I thank you for that. No, nourishment of the mind. Totoo 'yun. Kasi pag kumain naman tayo, kung hindi ay hindi to sa panglasa ko, di ibalik mo. 'Di ba? Parang I mean, spit it out. I mean, it doesn't work for you and it's okay. 'Yun yung pinaka-importante sa ating mga anak eh. They will be able to know who they are, their identity because it's easier for them when they were in college na ay ito talaga yung gusto ko. I can see myself like this, doing this, no? Kasi it's really personalized. And something na ako, no, hindi at the fact na kasi I took conservatory music. So I thought I would like mass communication. That was my first choice. Kasi nga yung mga ibang classmate ko, yung mass com na nga rin ako. Pero I realized parang hindi ko talaga gusto yun. And then kahit na hindi masyadong approve ang mga magulang ko at the time to get conservatory music, it was really fate in a way na my parents, syempre very traditional mag-isip, di ba? They were able to, sige anak, try mo yan. So, what I'm trying to say right now, hindi ko man siya naggamit in a big scale because I was able to take also music education. Being with that, I was able to do homeschool and my kids now they really love the kind of music that we have. It's really old, no? Ibang klase sila mag-interpret ng music, ng art, and my daughter is now in UP, fine arts major siya. So, yung artist in me, nakuha din nila through the homeschooling because that is how we live as well with my husband. So, this is my fourth reason, why I also love Charlotte Mason because the student makes connection. It's not only being broad. Like kanina medyo hapyaw na kwento mo na sa atin yan. Pero they also make connection with the life that they live and the book that they read. And it's really experiential, no? Experiential. Nako-collect nila sa napag-aaralan nila, sa reality ng buhay nila of whatever they learn. So how does it look like to you, Leah?
When it comes to the connection, because we have, katulad niyan, very, to be honest, very Bible-based si Charlotte Mason. Very Christian yung tinuturo niya. And ako kasi parang if with things like this, I'd want to parang explain it in the way of a story. So ito, like if I may, like I saw this in my daughter. So my daughter kasi is a competitive swimmer in the Bahamas. Competitive swimmer siya. She actually, bago kami umuwi, she was part of the Bahamas national team. So it's a very, alam mo naman sa sports, very, very competitive, very arduous ang competition yan. So this is a story. Kasi di ba si Charlotte Mason, she has this quote, I am, I can, I ought, I will. Di ba lahat ng Charlotte Mason?
Yes.
Initially sabi ko, ay, ang ganda. Parang, gusto ko siya. Ang ganda ng quote. But then as the years passed by, na-realize ko nga and then I learned that it wasn't just a quote. So, this is a story, yung anak ko nga kasi, competitive swimmer siya. So, there was a time, I think 3 years ago, she was trying to get into the national team. May cut-off kasi. So, parang dalawa lang ng highest pointers like I think she was 11, 12 or 9, 10 during that time. And then as a competitive swimmer, meron silang tech suit. It's a special kind of swimsuit that they wear for competition alone. It's called a fast skin kasi parang bumibilis ka by 5 seconds eh. And competitive swimmer, yung mga kami magulang, we are forced to purchase that because it helps the child. So, and very expensive siya. So, ang halaga ng isang swimsuit na yon nasa $350 to $700.
Grabe.
And then you need
ano yun?
feeling ko magiging parang dolphin ka yata pag lumangoy.
Ano ba yun?
So my daughter has 2. Syempre hindi naman namin afford ng more than that, diba? It's very expensive. Tapos meron siyang ka-teammate na who's actually the top one during that time. So it was before an event. Actually, 200-meter breaststroke yung event. Natatandaan ko kasi, alam mo yun, talagang tumanim sa isip ko yun. So we were in the car. Katapos na yung 200-meter na event, sabi niya, Mom, I have to tell you something. So ang haba na explanation niya, sabi niya sa akin, Mom, you know this friend, yung friend niya, who was the top one at ka-competition niya, sabi niya na there was a tear on her fast skin. So yung fast skin niya, napunit nung kaibigan niya. So sabi niya, to make the long story short, she said, I had to give her my spare. Diba? Alam mo yun, parang yung unang tumanim sa akin, $550 yun. Ibinigay niya dun sa this is like if this was like another yung mas
amazing.
Hindi niya ka-kompetensya, ka-teammate lang niya, but this child actually stood in the way of her being in the team. So parang sa akin my initial reaction was, bakit mo yun ginawa? And then ang explanation niya is parang, Mom, I know that I am very competitive, but you also know that I know the right thing to do. So she said that she can choose. Yun yung I am. Sa akin nandun yun yung I am niya. And then she said, she can actually choose to give it to her or choose not to give it to her and win the competition, but then she'd feel guilty because she didn't level the playing field. So sa akin, yun yung I can. So meron tayong I am, I can. And then next, sabi niya, but I know that I am the kind of person that I have to give it to her.
I ought.
Regardless regardless of whether or not it's competition.
Yes.
So sabi niya, and then, so I gave it to her. Tapos parang ako actually noon, parang umiyak ako after noon. Hindi ko alam ko umiyak ako because ang mahal kasi yung text.
Mix yun. Mix.
or umiyak ako because parang yun yung bigla ko na lang naisip. Siguro parang all the decisions that I've made for the kids, siguro tumama naman ako kahit papaano. Especially, like yung ituturo dito, like, yun nga, itong pag-homeschool namin. Siguro meron naman akong naituro na, na naging maganda yung effect sa pamilya at lalo na dun sa mga bata. Because honestly, the kids are very empathetic. Yun yung they can empathize with because I think because of the exposure to a vast kind of literature, nakita na nila, nabasa nila kung ano-ano yung ibang characters ng mga tao, nabasa nila yung biographies ng iba-ibang famous people, and they were like real people who had real struggles. And I think that's one of the best things that came out of homeschooling. Pero yun talaga nung time, hindi ko alam kung naiyak ako dahil nawalan ako, feel ko nawalan ako ng $500 or naiyak ako dahil natuwa ako na ganun mag-isip yung anak ko. So,
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that experience. Kasi doon mo talaga makikita na ito yung character which, no? Which nakakaiyak lang din. I feel you at the time siguro nung when your child make that decision na hindi mo ina-expect, no?
yeah.
Hindi mo ina-expect na gagawin niya. Pero yun yung, kumbaga, how you were able to rear your kids by the grace of God helping you on that end. Na ito yung nagbunga. And this is one of the things that I really love about Charlotte Mason, no? Is Charlotte Mason is really focusing on what we call the good habits, no?
Yes.
Yung habits of attention, habits of obedience, dahil bang habits, nako, hindi tayo matatapos pag-uusapan natin yung habits, pero importante sa kanya yun, no? Na totoo yun eh. Parang ako for me, one of the things that I really love is yung habits to character. And what she decided, no? What she decided your child is naging character na siya, hindi na lang habit eh. But it was, digging deeper in your child's inner being, kumbaga, yun yung natural, na niya, instinct na, kailangan kong gawin to. Kasi ito yung tama. At, kumbaga, hindi ako makakatulog pag hindi ko ginawa to. Whether my parents like it or expensive or not. Hindi niya naisip niya. Parang, this is what matters is. Parang gano'n. It's not about winning, no? But it's about, yun eh, in her inner, in the person's inner being. And, sobrang admirable. So, definitely. So, ano yung mga habits na siguro makukwento mo, Leah, na meron kayo sa pamilya na siguro, isipin natin, siyempre magaganda yung mga kwento, siguro naging challenge, no, sa pamilya mo na i-install mo na habits at ngayon nagbubunga na. Ayan.
Of course, isang one of the habits really is yung the habit of, sa akin kasi like first the habit of attention eh. Parang primary habit yan ni Charlotte Mason. So sa akin yung the habit of being mindful. Especially nga when we left for the Bahamas because, kami lang, parang kaming anim lang. And I have to manage a household. I have to homeschool the children. So ngayon, it's getting everybody involved with the management of the household. Ang gusto ko kasi doon, ang vision ko, sabi ko, ayoko na nasasabihin ko sa inyo, kailangan nyo maghugas ng pinggan, kailangan nyo magwalis. Kasi di ba, something, sabi rin ni Charlotte Mason yun, dapat hindi ikaw yung trigger. Dapat may inner trigger yung mga bata na alam na nila. So, which is a very, alam mo yun, I think it was very helpful na we worked on those habits kasi pagbalik namin dito, yung parang transitional phase syempre kami dahil ibang environment dito, iba yung setup. But then, yun, like, I was doing something last night. And because my parents live on the second floor, we live on the third floor. So I was doing something last night. I cannot really remember. My husband was at work. And when I went down, sabi ko kasi, we cook dun sa baba. Then I think last night, yung mother ko yung nagluto. Sabi ko, kukuha na ako ng pagkain. And I said, oh, I forgot. Parang hindi pa ata nahugasan yung mga lalagyan. Tapos my mom said, hindi ibinabanan ng mga anak mo. Hinugasan na nila at nilagay nila doon. Kasi, so here's the thing. Like, we are always so, parang particular with scheduling. With, ito yung task na gagawin mo, scheduling, ganyan. But what we do not, what is more important actually than scheduling is the rhythm. Ito yun eh. Parang so nakita nila na merong mga pinggan na hindi pa nahuhugasan or actually mga lalagyan na ng pagkain na hindi pa nahuhugasan. So we have to wash it. So yun, yung I think it's the children being very aware of how the household should be. Na pagka meron kang nakitang dumi, dadamputin mo. Pag may yung kapatid mong bata, pagka nakita mo na nahihirapan, tutulungan mo. And that is I think one of the beauty of training them in habits. It makes life easy, di ba nga? Smooth and easier days ang ating goal
I
sa
agree.
Charlotte Mason's
Kasi hindi na
education.
tayo parang, 'di ba, parang clanging symbol na keep on
Yes.
telling them what to do. And ay ng mga kids yun na we always keep telling them what to do. And tama yung sinabi mo, I really confirm that it's not about what we say, but it's because of the installment of those habits that we started in the early years. No? The inner trigger is really important na may conscience siya na, okay, I need to pick up this after I eat, after I feed, kailangan magugas ako, lalagay ko siya, fix ko siya, alam mo yung ganon. Hindi na kailangan sabihin na ito ang dapat mong gawin. And that's one of the things that I love with Charlotte Mason. Kasi definitely, pa nagturo ka at habits of attention, no? Pag walang attention at kung saan-saan pumupunta, mahirap na yon, di ba? Pero hindi natin pwedeng i-force, hindi siya forceful, no? Hindi siya
Yes.
dapat forceful. It's like, papaintindi mo, bakit kailangan natin tong habits attention na to? Kasi ito yun, which, this is my last point that, naku, I'm so refreshed with this conversation, but this is the last reason why I also love Charlotte Mason is, it fosters lifelong learning. You know, the love of learning, no? Yun yung sinasabi natin, di ba? The habits of a man, the habits of a child, definitely, dun makakita pag matanda na sila I-inject ko lang
Yeah.
yun. Kasi they will not be with us, no? Talagang kailangan nating i-face yun even though it hurts, it hurts. Like ako, anak ko, panganay ko 21 na, 19 na yung middle ko, and my youngest is 16 years old. So, slowly, I'm trying to, pace myself. Pero, iba pa rin alam mo yun sometimes na, oh no, they're making their own decisions. Okay? Without us. So parang, parang, hindi na siya nagtatanong sa akin. Something like that, di ba? Hinahanap-hanap ko yun na, hindi sila dependent sa akin. Alam mo yung gano'n. Pero, definitely, ito na nga yung bunga. Ito yung goal natin na maging, sa society, definitely, a good adult contributing like now, di ba? Leah, na pumipili tayo na kung sino maging presidente natin. Definitely, yeah. Character is important. Kaya nga ako, I don't look at kung ano yung nagawa niya and everything, that's the external, but paano siya sa pamilya niya, di ba? Ano yung mga decision-making process niya? Bakit siya nanggaling doon? Alam mo yung, doon ako, I dig deeper on that level because definitely, kung ano mang deposit sa taong yon na maging presidente natin, will always affect us The decision that we're gonna make will also affect us. The way we choose, no? Our president. And even our kids will be able to choose the future president in the long run pag nasa edad na sila. So, di ba, Leah, it fosters lifelong love for
Love for her.
learning.
Yes.
Definitely. That they will apply it when they're adult na sila. So, ikaw, how does it look like to you, Leah?
I mean, I think parang yung parang nag-match kung ano yung iniisip natin because I think that is, I realize, yung deeper reason ko, I think that's one of the deeper reasons why I stayed using the Charlotte Mason method. I call this as the mother's wish. Kasi there's an article written about Charlotte Mason very recently lang. Sabi, what makes Charlotte Mason different from all the other, philosophies? Kasi, especially with this grand system of education, there are only two focus points ng truth. The truth that the teacher is giving the child the correct information, and then the truth that the child is absorbing said information. But sabi niya nga, let's take for example, values. Ituturo ng teacher, kailangan maintindihan ng bata. But there's a third truth na tayo as parents, gusto natin. This is the third truth, ito yung part ng Charlotte Mason education. Yung sinasabing, not only learning about the values, but also taking it into heart. Yung parang, okay, natutunan mo na, natutunan mo to be a polite child, natutunan mo to be very ano to, parang you very understanding of other people. Matututunan mo yan sa school, 'di ba? Matututunan mo yan sa teachers. But parents, they go through much more than that. Gusto nila is makuha yun nga ng anak nila. Is not just educating the mind, but also educating the heart of the child. Kasi yun yung, there should be a balance. Yun yung pinaka-importante. To take on those roots. Because, di ba nga, sabi ni Charlotte Mason, parang, you have to be parang, it is also gospel related. Na sabi, there's a passage in the Gospel of John that says, many believed on his name, beholding his signs when he did, but he did not believe them. Parang kasi hindi nakita niya na hindi naman hindi siya, parang kung isang bagay is nasa isip mo lang pero hindi mo isinapuso, wala ring kwenta yun. Hindi, what is the use of knowledge kung hindi mo siya i-implement? Yun yung beauty ng Charlotte Mason education. It goes beyond learning. Alam mo yun, hanggang character ng bata. Yung character ng bata ang kasama sa pag-mold sa education.
Beautiful. Thank you. Well said, Leah. Totoo yun no? Talagang, it's really a heart transformation. We cannot, definitely habits are there, pero yung puso ng mga anak natin, yung importante. No? Pag wala na tayo dito, di ba? Hindi naman nila sasabihin na, nasaan ang mama ko, nasaan ang papa ko, no?
Yes.
Then, they need to make decisions, no? And when I say lifelong learning, the person is also willing to be corrected, no matter what season in their life. That kind of attitude na hindi nanggagaling sa ulo or what they have achieved, but because of the heart transformation. Is that what you're trying to say? The heart really matters kasi dun bumubuga yung kung ano yung pwede mo maging desisyon para sa magiging anak mo, sa asawa mo, no? It compasses everything. And the books that you read, it defines And it defines where is that coming from with all the choices that they're gonna make. And tayo naman mga magulang, yun naman yung gusto natin, di ba? Na mapabuti sila. But at the end of the day, we just do what we can hanggang nandito pa sila sa atin, di ba?
Yes.
Pero si God talaga din ang magtatransform din ng puso nila at the end of the day. And I'm really thankful for what Charlotte Mason had invested, no? I know at that time, no, in the 1800s, no, it's not easy for her to be able to stand on that. No, maybe siguro nung time iba yung atmosphere ng education nun. Hindi mo masasabi sa pangkaramihan, hindi naman niya iniisip na pag-uusapan natin siya today, di ba?
Yes. most of her, di ba, parang philosophies, it wasn't well accepted during her time.
Yeah.
Kaya
so it echoes. Hindi na sayang kung ano man yung pinlant niya. All the books that she has written, hindi na sayang. And this is something that we could be able to give, to the next generation and in the legacy. So ikaw, you are helping right now a lot of parents and you have Charlotte Mason Authentic. I love the authentic. So how does this started?
Charlotte Mason Authentic started with actually during the pandemic. I realized there's really a growing group of Charlotte Mason homeschoolers also back here in the Philippines, back home. So, ang Charlotte Mason Authentic nga kasi, I wanted to bring initially the pillars of Charlotte Mason education, yung mga nauna sa atin, like, Art Middlecoff, those luminaries, to bring them closer to the Filipino homeschoolers. So what I do, since I'm in that part of the world, it was easy for me to get in contact with them. So I held free webinars and workshops with these people. And parang naging maganda naman. Like everybody, parang nagkaroon ng, yung community, they were very supportive. And I could see that they were really gaining a lot of knowledge from, from the talks. And then so parang nag-sprout na siya into, nagkaroon na kami ng, because I am big on habits. Parang ako kasi parang sabi ko na, just instill these habits in your children. Parang magiging madali yung pag-homeschool. So hanggang nagkaroon nga na kami ng habit training groups. I currently have 4 habit training groups. And also dahil yung mga bata, like my children, kasi parang like when we read Shakespeare, okay naman pag nagbabasa ng Shakespeare, pero I realize parang mas maganda if meron kang ibang mga kasama and merong mga iba kang alam mo, maririnig ka ng mga ibang input. And so we started also co-ops on Shakespeare. We have like 3 Shakespeare groups, and then we also have art and composer study na co-ops. So parang nag-ano na siya. It has become, actually just can't say na parang ako, because there's a lot of other parents who are very much willing to help. Yung iba nga parang kahit na first year or second year lang nila ng Charlotte Mason, they are parang willing sila to help out. So kaya nagiging successful yung mga, like our Shakespeare. We are on our 3rd play. We did Midsummer Night's Dream. We did ngayon nasa A Winter's Tale kami, A Comedy of Errors, and then A Winter's Tale. So I am so happy with the community because you feed off on each other. Kung ano because we all have personal experiences. And ako, kasi parang hindi ko sasabihin na parang, alam ko yan lahat, alam ko lahat tungkol kay Charlotte Mason, because we all have unique experiences, which gives us certain knowledge na hindi ko rin naman alam. So, yun yung maganda. Sa community, I have parents na we exchange sa messenger lang ng mga quotes that we like, and that's very enriching kasi 'di ba makita mo, oo nga no, like it's a good reminder for today. So I don't just see it as something that I created. I see it as this community of well-meaning parents that are all trying to help each other to give their children not just the best education, but to prepare them for the challenges ahead. To have, really the vision of Charlotte Mason, to prepare them for to be good and responsible citizens in this world. So yun ang Charlotte Mason authentic.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Iba talaga no pag yung community, no? Iba yung nagagawa ng community, and one of the things that I love about the community, especially alam mo yung mga knowledge nila na hindi mo alam, yun yung sinasabi mo kanina, na you can also learn from them. It's not even about you. It's about really the collaboration. And ang maganda doon, alam mo, it resonates with our kids. Nakikita nila kung paano kayo nagtutulungan. And something that is really a good example, no? One of the things that I really love about homeschooling, that is also that we were able to form yung Philippine Homeschool Association. Ngayon, sobrang laki na nila. I left the group 2 years, I left the group last year because sabi ko, pwede na kayo. Pwede na ako, wala dyan. Kasi I'm sure you're gonna nothing their own with kasi I see them grow. I were able to see yung maliliit pa sila yung mga bata, as in baby. Ngayon, ang lalaki na nila, mas matatangkad pa sa akin. So, nakakatuwa lang how this community will be able to change people's life and how to cultivate relationships, no? And how to cultivate friendship. Di ba nga, there's no man in an island talaga. You cannot live alone, especially in the homeschooling industry. You need person who is willing to listen to you, and person who iron sharpen iron, di ba? Kung may mali ka or nasiguan mo yung anak mo ng isang araw, meron kang pwedeng ma-venti.
And meron din magre-remind sa'yo na parang magre-remind na mommy, parang sobra yung ginawa ko.
Oo, di ba? And nakakatuwa lang din kasi may mga bagay na hindi ko nakikita sa mga anak ko, pero yung isang BFF parent ko, nakikita niya yon. So, sinasabihan din niya ako, and I'm willing to listen because there are things that I can be blinded. So, community is really important. Thank you for doing that, Charlotte Mason Antique. Authentic, no?
Yeah.
I just want to ask you, no? Leah, pwede bang magpunta dyan ng iba? Is this for all? Maybe you can
Yes.
invite others. Sige.
Yes.
Ano bang information about this?
Like, but right now kasi, the habit training groups, they're about to finish. But I can start back up. Pero yun nga kasi rin ang my vision kasi is like I started the
It's
4
4
groups. But
o'clock.
like with the pioneer groups, sorry, with the pioneer groups, my goal sana is for them to also start. So I will talk with them na baka gusto nila mag-start, with their own groups. Parang mag-germinate tayo na nag-umpisa ako pero makakapag-umpisa din sila. And yes, I mean, just send me a message. Like also we still have the Shakespeare co-ops and we're going to finish the 2 groups now. So pwedeng pag nag-start kami ulit, it's open to everyone. Like not even,
Yes. So
like
do you have an FB account? Like a Facebook account?
yes, Charlotte Mason Authentic din ang
Yes.
Facebook
So DM
group.
lang po natin si Leah, and I'll put it also in description box here in the podcast and YouTube, no? And you can also contact them in their FB account, no? So meron namang ano 'yun, 'di ba? Hindi lang
They
ikaw
can
ang nag-admin doon. Siyempre, hindi mo kaya lahat, no? So, nakakatuwa, exciting po yan ako mga magulang, savor this. Dahil nung panahon ko, alam ko, matanda na ako. Ay,
But
wala
it
pong
doesn't
ganito.
show when you said that you had a 20 and a 19. Tapos ako
Yeah,
parang,
I'm 48
totoo
years old,
ba?
Leah. Yes, I have 21. So, nakakatuwa lang po. I-savor niyo po itong magaganda na mga opportunities na ito. And I also love that Leah is doing this for free. Hindi po lahat ng mga workshops natin ay for free. Definitely, your heart is to really help other homeschoolers. Pero definitely naman laging forever free, no? So dapat magtulungan din, no? On how to go about with this. So yes, please follow Charlotte Mason
Mason
Authentic in Facebook account. Yes. Maraming salamat po.
Thank
So,
you.
Leah, to just seal this podcast and our YouTube video, so what is your, how can I say, advice or parang farewell advice for our parents regarding who is interested with Charlotte Mason and how to go about with this?
Okay. So for those who would like to, start with the Charlotte Mason curriculum or education, those who are on the fence, those who are curious, siguro I'll just leave you with what Charlotte Mason said. Sa kanya kasi ito I think this is what I was trying to say earlier. Sabi ni Charlotte Mason, I mean like this is also a quote na she propounds. So sabi niya, what profit in a faith of the mind alone that reaches not the springs of love in a man. So this educational philosophy will not only nourish your child's mind, it will also nourish the heart. And they should always go together. That's the best preparation in life. Kasi sabi rin niya, like what you said, hindi naman tayo palaging nandyan para sa mga anak natin. There will come a time na wala na tayo dito. And don't you want to provide them with, preparing them for the life ahead, even without us? Na parang kahit wala ka na, they have that strength of faith in them that you have instilled from the very beginning. And that will allow them to face, life's ever, exponentially para multiplying challenges. So that that is a Charlotte Mason education for you.
Thank
Yun.
you. Thank you so much, Leah. Siyempre, nourish the heart, not only the mind, but really the heart. Maraming pong salamat.
Thank you so much for this
opportunity.
opportunity.
Yes, thank you. And abangan po natin because si Leah po magiging semi-regular na po sa iHomeschool PH and you'll be able to see her every other month. And that is really talking about OFW issues. And that is exciting. I am so excited. Thank you so much. Maraming salamat po mga homeschoolers for tuning in our YouTube and even in our podcast. Lagi lang po nating tatandaan, in homeschooling, relationship is more important than academics. Ako po si Nove, your homeschool coach, and I homeschool. God bless you and have a great week.